I'm so proud of you guys, to be honest. Like, oh God.
I don't know what people are proud of, but yeah.
No, for real. Like, I'm so proud. How many years are you guys married now? 7 or so?
No, we're more than 7. We're 8 already.
We're 8 going on 9.
Yeah, we're going on 9
Yes.
this year. We're going on 9 in October.
Oh, you!
I don't know how it happened.
I survived it.
When it's surviving, I don't know how it happened, but yeah, we're here.
What has made it last for so long?
Last for so long. Honestly, like I told you, I can't think about anything, but I think for me, it's more about the fundamentals. Right? I think we agreed on a lot of things before we got married. You know, like I always tell people that, you know, we had conversations before we got married that we first go like 2 days apart. Like everybody can just kind of think about it. Because you got also it makes sense. As we could make sense. Should we continue from where we stop and stuff like that? So getting into marriage, I think those fundamentals, we are lucky that those fundamentals are still there. So we had very, very, very difficult conversation at the beginning. So yeah, I think for me, that's just it. So it's not like we are trying every day to kind of perseverance or this or that. We're just living our lives. But because the fundamentals are there, when you have those kind of things that can bring like frictions, the fundamentals just come like, they just play out. Okay, this is how we say we're going to take care of you. This is how we say we're going to take care of the children. This is how we say we're going to take care of our families. So why are you fussing about it now? 2 responsible people wanting to be together.
Yeah, I think that last line is it for me. It's I describe marriage as a good marriage as 2 people who have refused to give up on each other. So through thick and thin, through when they annoy you and you just want to fling them outside of the window, you just remind yourself that, okay, we die here, we're not going anywhere. So no matter how upset it is you are, no matter how you feel, take some time off if you need to, deal with your emotions. But I'm here. Let's pick up from where we left off, but we're not going anywhere. So we either talk about it or, you know, fix it, or we fix it. There's no alternative. So yeah.
I'm so proud of you because what I know prior was that you were always the if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He was more of we die here, and you've now grown to be the like. And I say this, like, I'm like, women are reciprocators. Like, whatever a man gives a woman is what she works with. To know that he's always been the person who is always like, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to make this work. And you've never had any shroud of doubt in almost 9 years. And you're now the person who is also here saying, we're making it work either way. It's not because anything went wrong, but because you've put in so much safety and trust in her that she now believes so strongly that, I'm here till we die here. I'm so proud of you for that.
I try. And I'll say I had good counsel as well, I think, along the way. I've had people who have poured into me, even in ways that they don't realize that they have. That mentality came more from upbringing, from the kind of marriages I saw around me. I'm not sure we had lots of good examples of good marriages growing up. So that's why I had that mentality of, say, I'm not going to die in any marriage. If it's not working, please, where are my bags? It was good while it lasted, and let's take a walk. But I think over time, he especially has helped me to see that we're who we are. Our marriage is not anybody else's marriage. Our marriage is what we make of it. We can decide how we want it to be. If we want it to be like our parents, then let's go ahead and act like our parents. But if we want it to be in our own way, we're holding ourselves to our own standards, not necessarily anybody's standards, but what we define. And like you said, we had lots of conversations before we got married, from money to how we want to raise our children, to how we want our home to be, so the kind of life we want to live, right? Are we doing everything 100%? Maybe not, but the fundamentals are there and we're very clear on it. So that, you know, him pushing for that level of conversation from time to time, me being surrounded by good counsel, I finally met people who had good marriages, who were making it work, and they were also defining it themselves, not necessarily holding themselves to the standard of anybody. Bring that together, and you know, over time, I also got older, wiser, more mature.
Actually got older, wiser. Let's talk.
I got older, wiser, and you know, I decided to lock in and go all in.
Yeah, you got older, wiser. You know that is a very very important. Okay, so the thing is, so the thing is, I think if you dial it back, I met her when she was about 25, 24.
Yeah, 24-ish. Yeah, 24.
I was in my late 30s when I met her.
Late 30s, that you were. You're
Early
early
30s,
30s.
right?
Come on.
Nisuru. You are talk. You are talk your own.
You've done your own.
I was in my early 30s, and I think one of the greatest fear that I had was because those days I call her, we're going for this party, we are going for this club, we are going for this bar, and wow. Right, and so by the time we even started this conversation, she wasn't really into the fact that she wanted to get married. But I think the second time I told her, you know what they say about when a man knows, right? I was quite sure that I wanted to marry her.
Oh, he's a scam, by the way. The first day we spoke, he told me, he's like, I don't want to be your friend, I want to marry you. And I laughed.
Right. Yeah.
I laughed. I'm like, guy, does not work on anybody. It's like,
Well,
I'm
I want
serious.
you.
I want to marry you.
So
And
because
then-
I've kind of had conversations, and this was somebody that we've not seen each other. We just got on a phone call, and we had an extended conversation. I like having intellectual
She says
conversation.
it all the time. Like the thing about you, both of you, that's so amazing for her is the conversations.
Yeah, the conversations are really good when she wants to talk. Right. When she wants to talk, she's conversing. And when she's not trying to find fault in everything. Okay, you know what? Don't worry. Let's leave this conversation. Let's leave this conversation. Don't worry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Wano.
You just kind of. But bottom line was, I think moving from there, right? I feel that she's not seen a lot at that point. So it was either, hey, Tuma Mashel. I remember one of those conversations. I think it was during one Ileya or one or do like that. Then she came to my side and I was like, you're coming from your house. You don't bring food for me. Ha! Jesus Christ. Hey! I will never forget that.
You want me to bring cooked food from my father's house? Show you. Why?
This is me that everybody that I've always dated either comes home to cook, bring food. I don't cook. Then I have this girlfriend, and you're coming from your dad's house. You guys cooked in your house, so it's not like
a party.
It was a party, and you are coming. You did not bring anything. I was like, where is the food? Omo, she cleared me, oh.
She cleared me.
And my friend will come back through the shop with a film when Then another one was, she always lied to me that she doesn't know how to cook. I tell people I like 3 things. I like good food, I like good sleep, and I like other things.
Adult conversation. What is the other thing? Let's be guided. What's the third thing?
I like 3 things. Good food, good sleep, and I like good sex.
Awesome.
And this was me dating a woman who said, one, she doesn't know how to cook. She'll come to my house, we buy Indomie and we eat Indomie.
Yeah, what Indomie?
And my friend, it's like, I don't know you again. How are you copy one or Indomie for Dano? Yeah, but over time, I think she started getting, mature about the conversation. Like I said in the beginning, I remember the first time we had the conversation around money. We first went for 2 days, like, okay, is this what you want to do? And then because of our lifestyle growing up, seeing her then, one day I just called myself, I'm in my stress cell. So I told her, I said, no, let's have this conversation. You know what? I'm never going to stop you, right, about anything. But let's talk about rent, let's talk about school fees, let's talk about this. Here's the deal. I will give you whatever is available that I can try. See, if you now want to build on it, like this is what our house rent is. Our house rent is 500K. If you want us to go and live in Ikoyi, I decide to put 4 million, I will not fight you. But please, by God's mercy, don't stress me. I know you have, clarity in your head, you have, social status and, the kind of school that you want children to attend and stuff like that. I will not stop it. But at everybody, and that's one very good thing about we're very transparent about earnings from the word go. So everybody kind of knows what everybody earns, and we kind of very accountable to each other about spend. So it's not like, oh, I have money that I don't want to spend. You know what I earn. You know how it's going. So you know that I cannot afford this kind of dream you have. She's a very good dreamer. So this kind of dream you have in your head, right? I can't afford it. So, but if you can afford it to make you feel good, once I drop whatever I drop, please build on it, and I will not fight you. You can be sure I will live in that house with you very peacefully, knowing fully well you are paying 90% of the rent. So yeah, she became, so having this kind of conversation over time, sometimes it doesn't sit well with her, sometimes they sit well with her, but yeah, she became wiser and she's now a sage.
So my question is to you, knowing that you had all these dreams, or at least then, I mean, this is almost 9 years later, the dreams that you had, how you wanted things to be, and knowing he says like, oh, this is what I have, don't stress me. You're a dreamer, you're a doer, let's go 10 times more. I've always known you to be that person. How were you able to manage, or how are you able to first convince yourself that this person is worth taking the risk with, first of all, and then how are you able to navigate it to then come into agreements to it? You know what, they're worth it. I will do my path.
How was I able to convince myself? Do I even remember? I think at the time, again, I had good counsel. I keep telling him, I had a colleague at the time. His name is Uche. I keep telling him that if I didn't have Uche in my life at that time, I'm not sure I would have gotten married. I met him at a time when Uche was trying to help me work on my psyche and mentality around marriage, around understanding that it's always a give and take relationship, around understanding that it's two people working together, not one person carrying the load and the other person feeling like, oh, you're the man, so you have to take, full financial responsibility. He taught me the place of savings. He taught me the place of, supporting each other's dreams. He also taught me about times and season, right? The fact that, somebody earns more today, even if it's the man that earns more today, people always, life happens, and then, the tables can turn, and then you have to be responsible, and then it always goes like that in every marriage. So it's not a rigid or a fixed situation. So having somebody like that in my life made it even easier for me to have these conversations and go back and reflect and be like, does this make sense? Is this something I can live with? At that time too, he had also given me an assignment to draw up the kind of life I wanted for myself, beyond the material things, in terms of peace, in terms of calm, in terms of the atmosphere I wanted for my home. And then picture, because he knew when I started dating him. Interestingly, they never met. Surprisingly, they never met. And then the question was, then this person you're about to start dating, do you see him in this picture? Do you see him being able to give you this level of peace? Do you see yourself being able to have this level of warmth around him? Do you see him being a role model father to your children, right? So having done that exercise, right, it was a bit easier for me to now, put him into that space and be like, okay, this picture I've drawn up, does Sesan fit in here? He does. Although his initial stance gave me a feeling like it came to me as a lack of ambition. Like, how can you just be, okay, fine, I don't have none here. You are not even going to make an effort to even, bring a little more or something. And you are just comfortable with it. Why should you be comfortable with, me constantly taking care of myself? And I now told myself, I said, Aunt's an independent woman. You said you don't need a man, you don't want to rely on a man's money. Now the man is telling you, okay, well, I can give you small of the money, but you put the rest and you have a problem with it. So again, it took a lot of introspection, internal reflection, thinking into the future. But I think having Uche in my life helped me focus on what was most important. So setting my eyes on those important things helped me, put things into perspective. And to be fair, he's kept his word, right? Because there's the saying and there's the doing. If I remember our wedding interview, I think we had Channel TV at our wedding, and then the reporter asked me how I knew it was the one, or what are some of the things that endeared me to him. And I'm like, he doesn't stop me from doing anything. He tells me, fly as high as you want to. I will never stop you. Do not, on account of me, not do anything you want to do. And that for me is giving me freedom to succeed. But because he's such a supportive partner, I then tell myself there's no joy in succeeding alone. I want this man to hold my hands and journey with me to success, because that's what...
She's in the zone, don't you?
Sorry, just touch me. I love you, Mom.
Fuck off. So that then, you know, helped me with. So it wasn't just words. They were not just mere words. It was words backed up by action. Time and time and time again. On my 30th birthday, he got me a plaque. Even though he hates that plaque is sitting somewhere in his study. It had an eagle on it. It's like a glass. It's like a glass prism sort of thing. And it has like an eagle. It's transparent, but you can see the eagle flying inside of it. And it's like, just fly. Just keep flying, keep soaring. And I mean, technically, he's the wind beneath my wings. And when I don't want to fly as well, he doesn't push me. You don't want to fly? Okay, sit down and rest. Are you ready to go again? By all means. By all means. As long as you don't give me high blood pressure in the process of flying. And I think over time, we've infected each other. I've gotten a bit of his calm. He's gotten a bit of my drive. Because initially I'm like, you know, how do I say?
You know
when somebody is like, I'm a kind of person who, okay, I wanted to achieve this. I've achieved this. What's the next pedestal? I said, let's assume I said I want to live in this neighborhood. By the time I'm leaving there, I've not even sat down to even enjoy living in that neighborhood. I'm already thinking that, Father Lord, the people in Ikoyi, they don't have 32 heads. Oh yeah, how do we get there? And I start to think of, okay, so how do we get there? What needs to happen to my earnings? My husband. Father, we thank you for these 2-bedroom flats that we have. Please don't ever take it away from us. We will never be ingrates. This is so comfortable. We are happy staying here. And I'm like, guy, duplex is somewhere. Mansion is, why can we not be the ones to live in that mansion? But again, over time, I mean, I've gotten a bit of his calm. I've learned to be more grateful and enjoy, you know, and savor the present. And then he's also gotten a bit of drive for, this life.
Chop him. We got chop life.
So yeah, that's what it was.
It's so beautiful. I love it so much because I know how much even you have grown. And just to be clear, we're talking to the head of marketing.
Please, don't be making his head to be swelling anyhow now.
Please.
Is Oluse's not here? Daddy me.
But you put me share song. It's not like this thing is coming there. I don't want to interrupt you. But it's fine, not a problem.
Just in case. Hello, what are you doing in life?
Housewife. With all my dreams. I'm a housewife at the moment.
And you're happy.
Oh yes, I am.
You're at peace. I'm so proud of you. What changed for you?
In regarding
the whole pushing forward than you would normally do.
So it's I've always told people that, you know, I remember there was a day one of my former bosses, you know, we were going out and I told her that one thing I figured out since we started dating is that 8 out of 10 times my wife is right, I'm wrong.
Please, right. Say that again.
8 out of 10 times my wife is right, I am wrong. And I say with my full chest.
Listen to your wife.
So you see when we spoke the other time, like because she's a crystal ball. She's a crystal ball, right? So I think, you know, sometimes it just takes you as a man knowing, you know, that you are not complete, and also, you know, kind of being humble enough to accept that, see, what this person is saying is not exactly wrong. So I'll give you an example. I remember in those days, we have conversation. Like I said, we have very good conversations. And you would know, I will make statements and she will challenge me. Someone you will need respect. And at that point, those things are quite annoying. right? So two things. The first one is when I go back and I reflect on this, I tell myself, do you want to bring up a child like me, or do you want to bring a child like her? So first, I figure that
that child is choking me now. That child is choking me.
So if I look back into my life, I don't want to bring up a child like me.
The way you were raised.
The way I was raised, right? I was raised, not questioning things, right? I remember my dad in those days would say that when an adult is speaking to you, you look at the ground, you don't look straight into the adult. And this was me going to marry somebody who was going to look straight into my eyes and ask me very difficult questions. So they are not very comfortable questions. So the second part of it is also, was she wrong? Right? There is a saying in my language that when it was right? So it means that when you need to reflect and tell yourself the truth. You can argue it outside, you can defend yourself, but when you come back home, you need to think about it. You self-reflect, and so those times I kind of self-reflect, like, you know what, you want to tell yourself the truth. This guy is not the problem. You probably just have some level of problems, that you're not dealing with. Then, over time, I started understanding that there is a difference between contentment and being lazy, and not just wanting more. There's a lot of difference. So you are lying to yourself that you are contented because you are actually afraid to take on new challenges. So it looks like, it's okay, So I figured out that was what she had that I didn't have. I'm afraid. She's not. So it's not really contentment. It's actually because I'm afraid. And, I started fighting that fear. Like, okay, so I was asking someone the other day that, what's missing in your life that your wife is coming to feel? And it wasn't something that I thought about before we got married. It was something that I figured out as we went on in marriage. Because now the fear was away that, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? I will fly, I will fall, but I have somebody who will pick me up. Unlike flying and falling alone.
Starting again.
So it wasn't, I usually tell people, in fact, my friend, my best man, during this same channel's interview, came and said, why would you say your wife is not the most beautiful person in the world? I'm like, yes, she's not the most beautiful person, she's just the most sensible person that I know.
Solomon Bucci, Solomon Bucci. See them?
She's just the most sensible person I know.
Yes, because the truth of the matter, she has a lot of sense, lot of sense. So what she really brings to the table is not how beautiful she looks. That's almost taken for granted. Nobody buys a wristwatch and a Rolex. I want to be punctual. No, it comes with it.
Yeah.
So it comes with the package. The beauty part is not the most important thing. The sense is the most important, and she's not just intelligent. Right? She's smart. So this was me asking myself very difficult question about, this kind of conversation. I'm like, okay, in all of this, what's the worst thing that I have? Okay, I'm going to resign my current job and go into another job and I will not do well. And they will send me back home. My wife works now and we don't have a kind of relationship where I think she's going to come back and say, oh, you are just such a lazy man who doesn't work and, stuff like that. We had very good. So I feel that I had a backup. If things failed. So yeah, so it translated to a drive, like, okay, can we want more? Now I also now started finding out that it's actually good to have money.
Now that you've tasted money,
my love, it's actually good to have money. So I used to live in one bedroom apartment somewhere in Iwaya, and it was, like she said, I always told people that the thing about me is that my biggest dream was to live in a room and parlor apartment with an Okada. That was growing up. That was what the picture of growing up looked for me. That was the picture of my family in my head. So I didn't have room and parlor and Okada. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. I had a car. What else do you want from life? I've experienced the dream. So I stayed there. So then, we got married. Then she would buy me designer stuff. This thing feels different though. I was just with my colleague in the office last week. I said, then I'll go to Balogun Market and I'll buy this, you know. I said, people already Ferragamo. She will look at me like,
Ferragamo,
they are wear these things that it feels so. Then she will buy me this, you know, nice stuff and I'll wear them. Then she will tell you that, you know what, there is a difference between Abba made Ferragamo and the real thing. Those ones, they spent money on research. They understand different feet in the world. So they actually, and you will feel different about it. Then I started figuring out, what do? So if we make more money,
we can continue to enjoy things like this.
Okay, we walk home. So, you know, over time, I've just figured out that, yeah, you don't need to be, you know, to put yourself on the string, but there's nothing wrong with enjoying life, right? There's nothing wrong with having the good things of life and stuff like that. And, you know, it really feels good, right? When you go out and people look at you and I was telling her that a woman walked up to me at the grocery the other day and said, yeah, you really smell nice. I said, oh yeah, let's buy the perfume now. How much is it? So it just keeps going back to the fact that, you know, it's really good to have money. And like I usually, I don't have shop, I don't have anything. The only thing I have is in this my head. So I would, you know, overwork myself. I will do everything that I needed to do just to get the kind of life, you know, that I want for my family. You know, where we stay now, you know, we can get down, our child can play and stuff like that. These were, you know, things that were not, you know, part of the picture.
Yeah.
Right, it was not part of the picture. Sometimes we do stuff for the child and I'm looking at, how did you just even come to spending this amount of money?
She has his mumu button, by the way. Literal.
She's the daughter.
Literal.
So it just kind of feels good that, you know, you also look at your own child, you also look at your own wife, you look at your life, and you're not doing badly, right? So I think that was one very important part for me. Like, okay, it wasn't contentment, it was fear, right? And the fear is the fear of failure. But here I am with a partner who I know if I fail will not judge me, because that's another part of it. So there was no, okay, if things go south, I will have to explain myself. Like I told you before we started this, is the fact that we kind of have three lives. I have my life, she has ours, we have a marriage, right? When it comes to matters of our marriage, then there's a consensus. When it comes to matters of our life, we are only advisors.
That's so good.
Right? So, hey, babes, don't do this. But if you do it, it didn't go the way you planned, right? And I will play my part as your partner, you will play your part as my partner, but it's not like I'm into your life. So we kind of have our different lives, right? So, you know, she will tell you that my wife spends everything. I don't know if it makes sense to you. She saves her money when she gets her salary. Let me use that as an example. She has, okay, I'm saving 50%. But the remaining 50%, don't ask me how I spend it.
Okay. I mean, that's wise.
I save.
Then
Part of what I have left, I want to save part of it. So it's like, but you are saved. Then you know, why do we need to go this way? But my wife is, you know, Abuja Budano kind of thing. So again, what we have is the consensus about, you know, I usually tell people that on our wedding night, I told my wife, I said, well, after this wedding night, XYZ must remain in our two accounts. So if you want me to just give you all the money, just remove the one that I used to buy my own suits and show up at the wedding. But we are not going to overspend on this wedding.
We're not borrowing.
And we are not borrowing.
Okay.
So we had that consensus.
Okay.
But when it comes to individual life, we can only advise you. Like, okay, I want to do this. What do you think about it? You know, even when people want to wear clothes in my house now, but baby, what do you think about this? I don't like this. Then she comes back, she wants to tell you, but I prefer that. Why did you ask me in the first place? So it can be as big as very life decision, and it can be as trivial as, should I wear blue or, you know, white or silver earring or golden earring? And you say, oh, the gold is nice. Then she goes into the bathroom. The last one was at Uncle Yinka's wife's birthday. we're going.
Pink?
Babes,
Pink or was it pink or silver?
I said, okay, the silver looks nice. Then she got there, she got into the bathroom and she came back with the pink one. I said, she said people told her in the bathroom that the pink is better. I was like, so why were you stressing me in the car?
I think every husband or every boyfriend has this problem. So I don't think it's a battle that you guys cannot win. Let's just keep it moving.
No, I'm fine. Absolutely.
So sorry. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done so much. I have a question in my head. I'm doing a reverse hypothesis of if before you got married to her and you were having this self-reflection to yourself as to this girl is going to challenge me, and I think that you were able to lower your ego to see what is ahead. A lot of men don't know how to do that. A lot of men want a woman who can challenge them, but their ego cannot allow them go forward. In the case where a man who has this type of person at the very beginning before they got married and could not get past the fact that this is my ego raising his head over what this woman can do for my future, what would you advise that type of person?
Maybe not an advice. I think I'm, like I saw, not a piece of advice, like I said. Like I told you, we don't have any principle. But if I reflect, into my own situation, something was very clear. What kind of life do I want? It was very, very clear. I remember in those days, I had this friend, he was in New York and I was in Michigan at that time. And because we were less busy, we didn't have work and phone calls was literally free in the US. So, once you pay subscription, you can call as much as you possible. So we get on the call. And we had this picture. We always told ourselves that invite any UN Kolosoro. She can represent you. She can represent you. So we had this picture of the woman that we wanted in our life. It was not deliberate, but these are the kind of conversations that we had. So that was, I told you that the first time I spoke to her, I knew I was going to marry her because she was quite different from every other person that I had spoken to. So she just kind of fit into that picture. But you've been talking about this picture. Then how this one who the Igbo was even better than me. The Igbo was like the confidence was there every time. So first, that picture was very, very clear. The second part of it is, if the picture is clear, then the question I needed to ask myself is that what is going to stop me from getting to that picture? Right? She's, like I said, she's very confident, she's very sure of herself, right? And I didn't have that kind of upbringing. So I realized that, I didn't have the confidence that he had. So she's not annoying, I'm just afraid, like I said. She's not annoying.
I remind you, please, I need to take note of it. I'm not annoying.
She's just very sure of herself. Right? So the question is, this is the life that I want. What is between me and the life that I want is the ego. Like I said, you have to just tell yourself that truth. Right? And if you truly want that life, if you truly want it, then you are going to be able to remove that stumbling block. If you don't, there is a paying lip service to the kind of life that you want. Right? And there is really wanting the life that you want. Early into our marriage, when we small thing, I say, hey, baby, look like this love is no longer there again. I say, hey, this is that I'm sleeping. You're not sleeping in the same bed. You are sleeping in the sitting room. And she's looking at me like, sure, okay. Because I wanted that life. I saw that life. I saw that picture. It was very clear. Looking back, I knew it was like a vision, right? But it wasn't like, oh, somebody told me you have to have a vision and stuff like that. But I was very clear, like, okay, this is the kind of family that I want to build. This is the kind of child that we want to have. And what role is a woman going to play in that place? I knew I had the issue of not very being ambitious, which was why the first conversation was, ma stress me. I can't hold the two at a time. So you are ambitious. One thing I can assure you is that I will not stop you. I will not get like, okay, my wife is flying here, my wife is doing this here, and I usually tell her in those days that it's one man that married Okonjo. We don't even know her husband. It's one woman that married Obieze Kwezile. We don't know her husband. So what's wrong with me being in the background?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me. It's one of the reasons, just a quick digression, why I said she shouldn't change her father's name. She still bears her father's name today. Right? And a lot of she spells her father's name.
Even my brothers can't stand it.
Even our own brothers can't stand it. And
Why?
it's pretty much because
An African man.
I don't own you. You built your life before we met. Right?
It.
So if you want to change, good. But it's don't do it on my account like, because you are married. What got us married is both of us, Ebun and Sesan, not our father's name. That stopped them from saying you are my wife.
No, of course not.
So what are we talking about? So there was that ego that I recognized that this is ego. All right, it comes. Let's not lie to ourselves, right? Like I said, most of the time it's after reflection. So it comes, but it's your ability to recognize that she wasn't wrong, right? Something, your emotion just kicked in, and you don't act on it, and you apologize if you have to. You brave it off if you have to. Also, sometimes you just ignore, like everybody will be fine, right? But depending on the gravity of the matter. No, sometimes let's be. Sometimes you go is there, right? I don't know. Okay, then we make it up in other ways and stuff like that. Again, that's you also having the right partner who is not insisting that you have to apologize for what you did. The first time we had an issue, and I said I'm sorry, and she said you are sorry for what? Like in full blow. Number one.
No, we need to be quiet. What exactly are you sorry for?
I'm not sorry just for sorry.
Number one,
you did wrong.
I came to apologize to you, which was very uncomfortable
for you.
Then you now said, for what?
Yes, now what exactly are you sorry for?
So that's just kind of thing. So it's not a piece of advice, but for me, it's just, do you have clear picture in your mind of what you want for your marriage?
Yeah.
On a personal note, leave the woman out of it. Everybody has their own picture. On a personal note. So every day, we work towards that picture. Right? I work towards that picture. Even when she's going off the track, I bring her back into that picture. My picture. She has her picture. Right? And I believe that when I'm also going off the race, she also brings me back into that picture. So it's not like, this is the picture we both... Well, for us, I told you we don't have a principle. So for us, is everybody have their life, we have a marriage. Everything that concerns the marriage, we protect with our lives, right? We will sacrifice our lives for our marriage, right? But we are not going to sacrifice our marriage
For the life.
for our lives.
Yeah.
Got it. I love it. How do you handle disagreements and conflicts in your marriage?
So at the very foundation of this marriage is friendship. A deep-rooted friendship. I won't say we have a particular way of handling it. It depends on the issues, right? If they're not so deep, like he said, sometimes he comes, he apologizes, sometimes I apologize, sometimes I just like, well, be fine. And then the following one, you're like, Shumoko, you are a very, very stupid girl. You know that you are not okay. And that's where it ends. And literally. And the other days when it's like, you went to Makpaelungwa. And that's how it ends. But whenever it is, feelings have been hurt and everything, we scream at each other if we need to. I think how many months ago? But we make sure we don't do it in the presence of our daughter. The first time we were even playing and she thought we were fighting and she started crying because she had never seen us fight before. So like you said, we do everything to protect our marriage. So we raise our voices at each other if we need to. I went into his workstation. I gave him a large chunk of my mind. Don't you ever. I said, how dare you speak to me like that?
It's the evil for me.
A couple of hours, so again, because we have a friendship, we're able to gauge and understand, when we've pushed each other's limits. We also understand when we need to give each other some space to breathe, because sometimes it's not about addressing it immediately, it happens.
Yeah.
So in the early days of our marriage, we made a rule. I think I saw it in a movie, and I told him, and we adapted it. Never let the sun go down on your anger. So if I get upset in the morning, we mustn't go to bed without resolving it. If we get upset at night, then I think we added our own. The sun must not rise 100%, or I mean, whatever it is, resolve all issues within 24 hours. So learning to not bottle things up has also helped. Number 3 is he taught me how to make excuses for people. So sometimes even when he does some things that I don't like, and I feel like, don't you realize I don't like it? And he seems to be living his life. And I'm feeling like, but you should know, because the truth is, it's not every time you want to talk. It's not every day you're like, we keep talking about it and you keep doing the same thing. So I'm just going to keep quiet. Sometimes I make excuses for him. And then it could be a few months down the line, I realize that, oh my goodness, he didn't even mean it, because we're talking about something else and the matter just pops up, and in my head I'm like, Ebun, and you judge this man, he actually didn't mean it. And my last approach is pick your battles. Not everything is worth fighting over. Sometimes, I mean, they put soap salt on the walls in the bathroom. They press the toothpaste from the middle. I come home, the house is upside down. I just come home, I'm like, the house is upside down. I add my own mess to the field.
As it should be.
And we all move on. So I've learned to pick my battles, right? Not everything is worth reacting to. Not everything is worth fighting over. Sometimes you want to be the bigger person. Sometimes you want to be the smaller person. But again, we have a foundation of friendship. So it makes it easy for us to resolve, whatever issues. I would not tell you, oh, this is the principle we have and we're keeping to it and we're following it. No. But what we know is
fights.
Yes.
Well, what did you say?
That's another thing. We do a lot of Ebun. We do a lot of
I think they
gossip.
said that partners who gossip have healthy marriage.
So here's how these things end. There's so much I want to say. There's so much you want to say, but we're too upset with each other. The minute we resolve it, I even had gist for you. But because you were doing it, I couldn't even tell you. Oh yeah, come and sit down. Let me tell you. So there's also the place of, I'm really itching to say this thing to you, but you're fighting with me. Oh yeah, come, let's settle this matter. So I can tell you what it is, and you can hear it as it hot. But yeah, I think that's just it. Again, we're friends. We're committed to making it work. So anything that threatens or puts it in danger, we try to resolve it on time. And then we usually say our home is our happy place and our place of peace. We've gone out all day, you take a lot of shit in the office, you're in Lagos traffic, people are cussing you out. And literally being upset with you. Somebody's coming to shove items in your face. God help you, your AC is not working. You've been through so much. I should come home and be able to put my head on your shoulder and just sink in and relax. I should come home and the atmosphere should not be as tense as where I'm coming from. So having that at the back of our minds, we always ensure that I'm not coming home to an angry partner. Yeah. So even when sometimes he's very clingy. I'm sure you've noticed how many times he has come close to me.
I was about to.
He can be very clingy. He likes to always have me around. Me, on the other hand, sometimes I just want to leave as if I don't have a husband. Just for 5 hours. Now, you see, those 5 hours, he's already upset. How can you just be coming home at this time? And I'm like, I've been with you at home all week long. So there are days when I come and I'm like, ugh. And then there are days when I'm just like, I know you've missed me. I think in the early days, we used to fight about it a lot. But over time, I just realized that he's just sad because he hasn't had me at home. So now I've learned to, I'm home.
Now you're the bigger person.
Just come and relax. Just come and relax.
Why you was like,
oh God. And then we're also very quick to say sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, very quick. Very quick. Even if we are not the one who upset the other person, just for the man being. I don't know. Sometimes you tell me, even though I don't know what I'm apologizing for. Man being.
Like, I just want to be close to you.
Yeah. So that's.
I think my next question is: did you guys start out as friends? I don't think you guys started out as friends. Did you guys, when you guys met, was it just friendship or you just started
do you want to hear the truth?
I want to hear the absolute truth.
I just wanted to get laid.
You just wanted to get laid. So when he met you, you're like, I just want to get laid. I'm keeping moving.
No. So when I met him, I think I just come out of a relationship. where, you know, at some point I realized I couldn't be with this person for the rest of my life. So I literally orchestrated the breakup, right? So when I got out of it, and then, you know, my friend told me about this guy who's been wanting my number and everything. I'm like, Danile. And they were like, he's in America. I said, I don't do love across the ocean. Sorry. If you're not here, come marry Rawa. And, you know, having come out of that relationship, it had been going south for a while, so there wasn't any level of intimacy or anything.
Got it.
So I was already in who's the next available guy? Let's have fun. Well, I'd already drawn up a bucket list of, you know, very interesting things. Then along comes this guy, and the first day we speak, he goes, "Well, I'm going to marry you," and I'm like, guy,
You need to be calm
format, calm down now.
Like, me, people here for a different purpose.
No, at the time I don't even realized. But then, you know, as first time we spoke, we went on the phone for 2 hours. And at some point I had to be like, do you realize how long we've been talking for? And at that point, it was an instant. It wasn't love. It wasn't. I would say it was a connection.
Yeah.
It wasn't romantic in nature, but it was a connection. You know, when you talk to somebody and like, no, this person is my kind of person. So we had so much to talk about, even though we were from, like, you know, totally different backgrounds and upbringing and worlds. We could connect, and I can barely remember some of the things we talked about. In fact, I remember teasing him and insulting him as the last born on that day. Day one. I remember him telling me he's the last one. I'm like, Baje. And then from there, you know, we went on another tangent. So we connected from the first day. Now, as time went along, he kept dropping hints of, stop calling me your friend. Sometimes you call when I'm at work because of time difference. And then someone says, who is the person you're talking to? I'm like, he's my friend. I'm like, he will respond, I'm not your friend, though. I don't want to be your friend. I've already told you. And then along the line, I asked him, okay, so, you know, when I started to feel like, okay, I think I'm liking this person. Well, how tall are you? Because I've always been into tall people. And then he goes, he's 5'4". Ha!
How tall are you?
5'7". Apparently it's 5'5", but I like 5'4". Ha!
Where do you want me to begin?
I remember calling my friend, I'm like, he's short. She's like, so? I said,
so?
I will not wear heels on my wedding day. What kind of... And then at that point, I was like, okay, he's short, but he's sweet. He's coming home soon. I just like, by one.
Submission.
Yeah, coming to marry somebody. Somebody wants to have sex and keep it moving.
I remember telling my friend Kafayat was like, Ebun, you're open breast on Skype. I said, let him come home first. And if you
motivated to come home, if
you remember, you know, when he came home, I was just all about, I want you to kiss me, won't you? What we are here for? Because in my mind, I already knew that, okay, I'm going to free this person, yeah. But I like the attention and everything, and the only reason I was going to free him was because he wasn't tall. So I was like, I'm going to free this person, yeah, but that instrument looks interesting.
Oh my God, I love it.
My brothers mustn't see this. It's not me. I didn't say it. I remember the first day we met and everything, and then when I left him, I called my friend Kafaka. I said, how did it go? I said, babe, it wasn't good. It was not good. It was rough. And he said, Mama, come kini. And she was like, hey. I said, I'm going back for more. But then again, he's a very deep person. He has depth. Around that period when he got back, when I was still not sure of, you know, where we were going and what exactly we were doing, there was some family issue that was going on. And if not for him, I'd have done a lot of rash things in that period. So I found myself constantly talking to him, even though it was during my life. He always had a way of grounding me and making me, so he lets me rant and he said, I know wrong now, how can they say that? and then eventually he said, oh yeah, come back home, calm down and breathe. If you go this way, these are the likely consequences. If you do it this way, these are likely. Why don't you go this way? Why don't you do it like this? Why don't you calm down? Why don't you listen? Why don't you not let them...
It's our own ministry.
So, you know, I liked the depth he had. When how do you say it in Yoruba? People who are deep thinkers. My husband is not... I'm somebody who thinks on my feet. Like, something happens, I'm already thinking of my husband sits down, he sinks, he absorbs the information, he allows it simmer before he then belts it out. So at that early stage, of the relationship, I really appreciated having somebody like that who could ground me. So that's how the friendship grew, and then it then transitioned into love. Because those early days when he first came to, he keeps saying that God practically, made me for him. And I'm like, oh, sure, so makes me Tasha. Because you see, in the early days, it was typical. Ebun would have left. Like I said, I was surrounded by good counsel in every way. I remember we went to Pounds, and the car broke down just at the entrance to Pounds. And I saw some of my colleagues. I couldn't even wave at them because I was sitting in the car that was broken down in the middle of the road.
And I was hungry that I'm taking somebody. We are going out. The car broke down.
He was hustling.
Help you.
Help me.
Come out and help me. I'm not coming and pushing car on the streets of Lagos. For what?
Wait, do you know who she was?
That's the point. I was like, okay,
We are in this
bougie.
situation. My managers were trying to introduce me to some fancy boys. I was doing shakara.
They will have abandoned you now.
To not make matters worse, and I saw some of my colleagues. I said, no, I will not be pushing car. No.
Do you know my friend was?
I adjusted my seats all the way to the back.
You want more language.
But again, because we connected on a deeper level, and then over time, I just realized he's a great guy all around, and he's very sweet, and he's still sweet, by the way.
I mean,
And
all
he's
this
very
while,
sweet, so So he was locked in from the start.
you just came for
I grew.
you just came for sex.
I came for the D. They put a baby in me.
No, but you didn't get pregnant. You're not pregnant.
And
before.
ring. They put ring and baby. But
Were you
yeah.
pregnant before your wedding?
No.
you were not
Oh, we
pregnant.
waited 2 years.
Before you got pregnant.
Yeah.
We actually made it deliberate. We had
I
a
love
conversation around it to say,
Again, talking about
we're coming from different worlds. We've never lived together before. Yeah, so let's take time to enjoy living with each other. We literally used to strut around the house naked.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was beautiful, for real. Like, we would drive our bed.
So it is not allowing that happen anymore.
Why? How?
No.
I feel bad.
Even your own room now. You don't know when she's just going to open the door.
Daddy, mommy. So I
We guys,
It's okay.
That's not my game.
It's going into the recording.
But anyways, we want to enjoy, our time with each other before we bring in little humans into the marriage. Like he said, plenty conversations, and we kept making iterations on them because we kept changing as individuals. So the fact that we said this 9 years ago or 8 years ago doesn't mean that it's still going to hold now. So now we're evolving. What's new? What's different? What are we doing for ourselves? What are we keeping? What are we changing? And yeah.
I love it so much. What are the core things that are like not negotiables that you're constantly teaching and impacting on her?
I think one of the most important things for us is that we intend to raise, by the grace of God, to raise a wholesome human being. I don't want to be that mom who raised, the very interesting or questionable character in society. I feel like that's one of our contribution to ensure that the one we raise right. Love is the bedrock of our parenting style. Yeah, we say love lives here. We have it in our house on the wall. We literally live by it. So from our interactions with each other, she sees a lot of love. Family is also very important to us. So from our relationship and interaction with our families, she sees a lot of love. And with children, it's not do as you see. It is do as I do.
Yeah.
So if I don't want you to do something, if I want you to do something first, you have to see me do it. And if I don't want you to do something, I can easily reference, but you see me do it. And trust my daughter, but mommy, you do. And the minute I get that you do, I know, I need to make adjustments.
Going back to the fact that she's very confidence and sure. She will ask you, but you also do this thing.
So our objective is to raise, a balanced individual as well, which is why we're not overtly religious with her. We want her to be able to see beyond the lens, beyond the lenses of religious sentiments, beyond the lenses of traditional sentiments. So while we, do our best to, guide her right in the way of the Lord, while we do our best to also let her know, these are the right things to do as a Yoruba girl, we allow her question these things. And until she's satisfied and convinced, we give her space to process. We do not say, don't do this because it is written. Don't do this because if you do this, this is the consequence. So beyond it is written somewhere, this is the impact on this person, on your neighbor, even on you as yourself. What else do we do with her?
For her, it's just more of, okay, what I remember we once had that conversation, like, so what are our core values in this house that we want her to live by? Because at the end of the day, the child is going to be the child. So we are very conscious of that, right? And like you rightly said, she sees daddy getting a hair drop all the time.
Oh, and then she also comes and
she sees daddy getting a back rub all the time.
And then she lays her back to mommy, my turn.
And she also does the same thing. And talking about the love, the family part, I think one thing that has also come very interesting, I think we had one session in December with our family, with our extended family.
Oh, yes.
And we just figured out that we try to eject everyone who is not living by that love leaves
negative
here
vibes. You're out.
Really
there is just this unconscious coalition that just comes like, okay, this person doesn't belong here, right? And somehow we kind of eject the person.
The person ships out.
Yeah. So I think that's very critical. And like she also said, we are raising an independent human being. Like I said, that was the bedrock, or that was one part of me that was missing that I wanted in my wife. So if everybody asks me about, how do you raise? I said, I go along with what mommy says is right. Because besides the fact that I want to play a role to support what both of you do, and the child is so smart that she knows what is daddy's responsibility or what daddy will do well. She will never ask her mom, like, Mom, let's go and play downstairs.
Because mommy is not the one that does that.
That's not mommy's call.
Children are very smart.
It's only daddy that has that time. So that one, I know that one doesn't require a lot of intellectual or emotional.
Mommy is study body.
So mommy is study body.
But that is writing body.
So
I see.
So that's just
so she knows where everybody excels.
So when we were coming,
take mathematics to her daddy.
She said she wants to do UCMA, and she said, do I know that mommy is very smart with UCMAs? So she's gonna wait for mommy to come back.
Did you feel?
No, I didn't feel bad.
I love it for you.
We just finished writing comprehension.
Okay.
Right. In fact, we started since yesterday. We finished it this morning. Right. So we're done. So I said, are you done with your assignment? Go and put your assignment in the bag. So go and put your books in the bag. Say, there's still one more thing. What is they say UCMAT? I said, okay. Said, but that it's mommy that does UCMAT. Mommy is very smart with UCMAS. I said, okay, when your mom comes back, you guys do UCMAT.
And then we speak in one voice, and she knows. Once daddy says no, it can never be yes. Even if I want to convince him to change it, I won't tell her. I come to him and have that conversation. And if he says for now, it's still no. No is no. So she knows that we speak in one voice. Then, coming back to love again, in our relationship with our extended families, we ensure that she doesn't see any animosity. For her not to see any animosity, we do not harbor any animosity or any ill feelings towards anybody. Both
Children
ways.
think those things.
Both ways. So all of that, my daddy's family is the mean family. My daughter doesn't understand what that is.
That's so funny because I'm like, it's so crazy how every person that I've seen or heard, not seen, even on Instagram, they always say, oh, I'm not my father's family, I'm not close to like a lot of Nigerians. I don't know if it's the Nigerian thing.
There's no such thing in our house.
It's so beautiful.
There's
Well
no
done.
such thing, because even when I tell people that my sisters-in-law treat me like their sister.
You said it.
There was a day I called his eldest sister, and she thought I was coming to report something important. I said I want to report. She was so afraid. She's like, you want to report? What's going on? You've never reported your husband. I said, he said I am not a family member. I'm not his family member. That he's the last one and I am not the last one. And she just started raking. She said, so how dare you? She's our last born. No, don't you ever say that. That's the kind of love and, relationship that we have. And we also ensure that she sees that relationship both ways. So it's not just my aunties and my uncles on my mommy's side. On daddy's side, they're all big mommies because it's the last born. It's my big mommies and my big daddies on daddy's side as well, and my big cousins on daddy's side as well. So she sees that balance. So it's not just, within the immediate family. It's in, how we relate with people and everything. So I think whatever it is we're doing, we ensure that it is rooted in love.
I think that the roots of it is the fact that, you know how they say, like, when two people come together and they make this entire thing, people think it's just, two people come together, they give birth. It's also like the internal things, the intangible things, the love, the safety, the security, the non-judgmental environment.
Yeah.
So both of you have done such an amazing job doing that work with yourselves first, and then it then extends to everyone around you, even to the office. Because I've worked with you. And when I have worked prior to when we worked in corporate, I know the difference. It's not like it's one very massive difference. She's always been who she is. She has not had, her core has always remained. So even now meeting her in corporate world again, there was nothing so different as to, my husband, I'm like, unfriend me, you. Ebun, and we cannot go 1 week without saying my husband. Oh, but I know you.
Mine is 1 week. His own is every day. Please. You meet my husband in 10 minutes, you know he has a wife.
Yes, I know.
You know he has a wife.
I think, yes, A and I have met once or twice in person, but we've done work together as well. Oh my God.
My wife. I always tell my wife. Every
time my wife. I'm using my wife's phone to call you. But I'm on my phone. I'm like, people like it. I let people rush into marriage. If your daughter comes home with a man that she would love to marry, what would you like to see in that man? But not about it.
So, I was speaking to his niece the other day. We were in the kitchen together. She stays with us, by the way. And she works, so she goes to work. It's closer for her to stay with us to go to work. And I was telling her of some of the things that I looked out for in a potential husband. Again, Uche, I need to call Uche. Again, after Uche helped me draw that picture. Some of the petty things were, I knew I didn't want a man who liked food so much because I don't like cooking, right?
No, they are great cook.
The only time I enjoy cooking is when I'm cooking for my husband. And it cannot be every day. I can't cook for him every day. So whenever it is I'm cooking for him, once he calls me and he goes, you are in the kitchen. What are you cooking? What are you cooking? I'm like, when you get back, you'll see. He comes home with an empty stomach. Because, so when I'm cooking for him, even everybody in the house knows that, you are cooking for your husband today, right? So I knew I didn't want a man who was very big on food because I'm not the kind of person who is happy to cook every day. I know how to cook because my mother literally beat me into knowing how to cook. So yeah, there's that. I was also petty about things like I don't want a man who likes football too much because my brothers used to beat me a lot growing up because of football. So it just put this natural dislike for the sport because I'm like, you're not even getting anything from it. Why are your emotions so high? Why do you feel like you need to chase me out every minute and blah, blah, blah? So, and then I also knew I didn't want a man who was too into video games, right? But I knew I wanted a man who would obviously support my career. I knew I wanted a man who would be a role model for my children. Very important. I wanted a daddy. I didn't want a father. I wanted a man who would be happy to have a relationship with his children. I can't remember when I actually hugged my father out of, love or anything. Now we are grown, when we get to the house, he just puts his hand, on our backs and things. But I knew I didn't want, my father did a good job raising us. I mean, to the best of his abilities. But I didn't want a man like my daddy. And I knew 100% the kind of men I didn't want for my kids. I didn't know 100% the kind of man I wanted, but I could tell, that these were my non-negotiables, right? You have to be happy to be a father. You have to be very interested in their lives. You have to be somebody who is sound and of good judgment. You need to be able to love me in a way that our children would crave having you, a man like you, in their lives. So for that reason, I would say if she comes with a man, one of the first things I want to look at is, does he love you, or can he love you the way your daddy loves me? Which is why it's important for us to set, a very good example. And there's something we used to say in the earlier days before I got locked into this marriage, that even if we break up, because life happens, even if we break up, we feel like we will still find our way back to each other. No matter how many years we spend apart. Somehow, some way, we know we will find our way back to each other. So regardless of whatever it is life throws, the first question to have would be, or to my daughter would be, does he love you the way your daddy loves me? You've seen how your daddy loves me. We're a couple that we know that even if life happens and we happen to go our separate ways, it's not going to be bitter. Yeah. It's not going to be, you can't have access to this, or you can't have access to that. Oh no, you did. We'll be very civil about it, but knowing fully well that my heart is with this person. And I always tell him, I'm like, I don't think I want to put this amount of work and invest myself so much into another person. It took us so much time and work to get to this point. I don't have the energy to do this work with another person. So if you want to go, when you are done, I'm here, because I'm not going to give this much of me to somebody else. But I mean, the point is, we want to try as much as possible to be role models for her, and we will have our weaknesses. Yeah. But at the very core of it, does this person love you the way your daddy loves me? The way, does it give you the freedom to succeed? Does it give you the freedom to fly? No matter how much hard guy you are, does he understand when you need a hug? Is it your happy place? Is it your safe place? Right? Does he make you happy? And does his ambitions, are they aligned with yours largely? Right? Because we had conversations even around, what if we don't have kids? What do we do? And then he said something. He's like, am I marrying you because I want you to give me children? Or are we getting married because we want to do life together? So are your interests aligned? Are your goals relatively aligned? Is there a meeting point? Because I mean, both of you can be on a tangent, but is there a confluence where all of that? Is there an intersection between the two of it? So, that's that.
Well, honestly, I think the way we are bringing her up is the way that we would have to trust our judgment. Right. I think, the past 9 years or 8 years or so, we've been doing a pretty good job to role model the kind of home that she should want to be. If there's any fear that I have, is the fact that how many men are out there, right, who are able to swallow their ego, who are able to compromise, who, I know there are men, I just know there are not a lot of them. Right. So you will really need to be self-assured and to know, actually, my wife usually says that even if you really want to do this married thing, right, we live our life knowing fully well that she might come and say she doesn't want to get married.
It's okay.
It's okay. So what's your judgment like? So we always say, so one of the things that she said something, my wife said something one day, and she said that I don't want to bring up a child that I will be resentful of because I have given my life just because I want to bring you up. then when you are not living up to that picture, I am now resentful I'm regretting that I wasted my life on you. So we are living our lives, right? We are living our lives to the fullest, to the best, knowing fully well that we have a responsibility as parents. But I would not say that, we are not going to be in our life. We only be there as advisors to guide her, right? But one of the things I usually tell people that, I had a great father, very great father. My sisters don't agree. My sisters don't agree that I had it, but I think I have a very good dad, right? And, I took a lot of lessons from my father.
Which was one of the things that endeared me to him, the way he spoke so highly of his father. I'm like, that's what?
I took a lot of lessons from my father about marriage. Because maybe I didn't see one of the other persons, but I saw a man who genuinely loved his wife. Right? He didn't have the best of things and stuff like that. But my father is, you joke in those days. So we all grew up not going to our father for anything. Talking about being transparent, my father has always been transparent with his earning. He doesn't have savings. My mother is a savings. So we don't go to my dad asking for one because he doesn't have any extra savings. Once he collects his salary, according to him, he removes the one that he's going to use for beer. I take my sisters to the bar to go and drink beer, and he gives my mother the other ones to use to do. So that was a very clear picture. Now, they are part of my dad. I usually tell people that I don't drink, I don't take alcohol, not because I am Christian or, I have anything against it. There was that part of my dad that I told myself I wasn't going to bring into, my life. Because my dad was a great guy all around until he has a bottle of beer.
Looks like we share the same dad.
You understand? Until he has a bottle of beer. And I was like, okay, how can I be that dad? How can I be that husband? Right? Jovial, close to my wife. In my mother's family, they used to call my father Ajoloni because anything that happens in my mother's family, we will go together. So my mother doesn't do her family alone. They go together. So anything that happens, you see my father. So they actually now adopted him as a member of the family. So when we're having family meetings in my father's house, in my mother's house, my father is sitting because that is how he is. So for us, it's also the same thing, right? What are your values, as a person? Because all of this will guide you. I don't know where she's going to be tomorrow and so on and so forth. I don't know if she's going to go and marry somebody who is not even of our tribe, of our culture or stuff like that. But when you have your values very clear to you, you know the way you want to be loved, right? I can just check the pulse to be sure that, okay, you are actually loved the way you want to be loved. And I really tell people, my father never decides for anyone, right? It's shake or to fresh in here. But knows that if you go wrong, you can also just come back home. There's always a home to come back to. But he's not the kind of dad that will tell you, I remember when I wanted to go to the university, I went to the Polytechnic, I had this internship at NMPC, and, they wanted to retain me, and everybody wanted me to stay because we're not from a very, well-to-do family. I know my sisters, everybody wanted me to stay. And I had a guy who was my boss in NMPC who told me, okay, you are not staying here. All right, you have to go back to school. You may never get an NMPC job, but you need to do better with your life. Because. Okay. And when it came to my father, he took me, we went on the farm, and he asked me, is that really what I wanted to do? And I told him yes, that I wanted to go back to school. And he's like, okay, that, I see him, this is what this all, but one thing he can assure me, that he's going to do his best. All right, and, that was all he did. And my first school fees in the university was paid by my former boss. And when I came back home, he told me that another man is not going to pay it. So long as I can live within his earnings.
And that's where it came from. When he said, please, this is all I have.
Do you understand? That so long as I can live within his earnings, he will do his very best. So he will pay school fees. He will ask me to come back home from school. We'll go into the farm. We'll, uproot cassava, sell cassava, either ripe or ripe, and make gari and stuff like that to pay school fees. Then he will pack his own clothes.
I want from American boy, famous.
Then he will pack his own clothes that his wife bought from him from Ayobo market and give it to me. And my mother will fight and throw tantrums and will say that him is married, that nobody is looking at me, that like him, that me, I'm the one who wants to get girlfriend, so I have to dress nice. And I will go back to school in this Ankara, large and stuff like that are bigger than me. But that was all we had. So the point is, my father role model what I think good parenting should be, right? And I think that's another thing we are also doing. What should a marriage look like, right? That's why we always tell people that I don't have principles. One thing I'm very certain about our marriage is that it has a very solid fundamentals. That I will say that with the best of I'll beat my chest to it, because we were very deliberate. Maybe because she wasn't too much in love when we were dating. Those conversations
was easy to see,
to have.
Got it.
Do you understand? There's a way you're in love. Like, if I talk about this thing,
we'll break up.
Break thing. Yeah. So, but she was at that. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, fine. Right? So we're able to really have deeper kind of conversation. Maybe
and then there wasn't even any pressure to get married.
So there was just this. So that for me, like you said, we have evolved. We have changed things, but we always know there's a part of everybody's mind that says, "This is what our agreement is or was about this matter." Now, if my wife is coming to stand in for me, it's not because she has to, right? Like she does stuff for my parents and stuff like that. But we're very clear when we started. Take care of your parents, I take care of my parents. Very clear. If you do something for my parents, I will thank you, but you don't have to. If I do something for my parents, you will thank me, but you don't have to. So when we talk about, we have a very fantastic family right now. In fact, sometimes our mom calls me and, we had this long conversation and she would never, open our mom's WhatsApp message and mom would send it that I would deliver. But so those things have evolved. They are not black and white like we spoke about it. I feel responsibility. She feels responsibility for my parent today, right? So it's not black and white. Where I should cut us on here. We have evolved past that, such that our parents are my parents. Like you rightly said, my mother called her last born, right? So we have evolved past it, but it doesn't take away from the fundamentals. That if things we're not going the way we planned, that was what it was. But we can never get back to that. Take care of your parent, I'll take care of mine any longer. If I get stranded today, before I call any member of my family, I'll call any of his brothers. And it has happened several times. No, seriously. Before I call any member of my family, I've called virtually all his brothers. That's how we have evolved as a family. So the point is, she sees all of this. So in terms of the man she's going to marry, the kind of family that is around his family, right? It's very difficult today to call our brothers my brother-in-laws. Very difficult. Because if their last born has any issue, the mom will call me. She saw,
like for real, they believe I'm an enabler of his bad behavior. And this is the voice of reason. So rather than call me to speak to him, they call him.
So we have evolved past that discussion. But it doesn't take away the fact that discussion didn't happen. So for our daughter, it's a function of, are you clear on what your mom was clear on? Are you clear about, because you're not going to marry your family alone.
You're not going to marry your husband alone.
You're not going to marry your husband
the entire family.
You are going to marry the entire family. So there are even things that happen that you really want to throw things into the winds.
But it's too late for
How
you.
do I explain to Tokme? How do I explain
I'm caught.
Okay, you know what?
Let's talk about this.
So for us, it's just, let's guide you. But you are going to eventually take your decision, and you are going to be responsible for the decision that you take. But if things go wrong, we are not that parent that will say, we told you so.
Home is always here.
You
can always come back home.
You cannot mess up with my daughter. By the way.
You can always come back home. You can always come back home.
I love this so much. How do you carve out time to nurture your own romantic relationships amidst all the family, extended family, with Amy, your daughter, with work, and now that she's taking time off of work? Because I know if you leave her, she can work from now to every single hour of the day, and I'm very proud of you. Anyways, on that you're chilling for a bit. I'm very proud of you on that. So how do you guys find time to carve out, like, to nurture yourselves? Because I think with you guys it's pretty easy because you guys are nurturing yourself anyways every time by calling, by having conversation. I don't know. I think you'll be in a better position to answer. But how do you carve out time to nurture romance in your almost 9 year of marriage?
We're actually still work in progress, and that's the truth. Yeah. Although we talk often when he comes back from work, there's always one gist or another, either from him or from me. When he has a long day, he just wants to curl up in my laps and take his shirt off and put his head on my legs and just tells me, "Baby, rub my head. Baby, rub my back. Baby, rub my head." Before we used to do, we used to take time away. We had time at La Campagne. We used to do IIT. Just take some time off, just the two of us. Even though I think the last one we went, Janola, we fought on our way.
I think that's very normal.
But it's something that I think we need to be intentional and deliberate about. We tried to do date night one time, but then if he wasn't busy on that Friday night, something impromptu would come up for me, and then it just never worked out. But he's been unexpectedly romantic from time to time, sending me flowers randomly. No, it's not attached to any event, just because.
A farmer to
I remember.
I've evolved. A farmer to send you flowers.
I remember my last place of work. He sent me flowers one day. I was having a hard time at work, and he just sent me flowers. And I remember the MD walked past and saw flowers. He was like, "Oh, it's your birthday." I said, "No." "Your anniversary?" "No." "Who sent you flowers?" "My husband." "Why?" "Nothing. He just wanted to." Like, "Really?" "Yeah." "Okay." The next person comes, "Happy birthday." I'm like, "It's not my birthday." "Why do you have flowers?" Because I got flowers, because I deserve flowers." "Oh, okay. Oh." So you need to do better, by the way. When I was at Wreck-It and we were on Montgomery in Yaba, he knew where I used to park my car. So if he happened to come around in course of the day, he would just drop a note by my windshield. And I still have some of those, by the way. And then, when I'm done with work and I'm on my way home, I just get to my car and I see a note and I open it up and I'm like, "Oh, babe." You don't do that anymore, baby.
Because you don't park around anymore.
Ever since I moved to Ikeja, this was not being responsible. But yeah. And then, what else? We're still work in progress, actually. It's something we need to do. But again, because we're friends, everything just naturally just happens by itself. But again, it's also easy to take things for granted. So that's why I said this is our reminder to ourselves.
Yes, very right.
To
very
be intentional, take deliberate steps. You tried. Your very big contribution to we take time out, because in doing all of the parenting and everything, it gets crazy. He's already planning for Valentine's, and I'm like, "You want to tell Josh Valentine's?
She's like, "Oh, my husband."
Who are you?" And she's like, "That's not fair. How can it be only the two of you? You need to have a family." I'm a Valentine's for family, please.
Baby.
But ask us if we have any plans for Valentine's.
No.
Do we? We don't.
No.
I'm sure you do from the spots.
Amen.
So that's another thing about my wife. So I would never have done anything on Valentine's, because she doesn't roll like that. If I do anything for our Valentine's, she does, or I know it's fake.
That's not true. I used to send you Valentine's cake.
That's me. Me. Right. I know it's fake. I'm very clear on what triggers and what touches are. Very, very clear.
Yeah, actually.
I can do things just for the sake of doing them. but I know when I do things that really touches the nerves.
Yeah.
Or
Actually.
that touches
Actually.
the notes. So
I
when
was
we
say she tell us, but don't tell us. So
when we
some men will not get the code. I was telling you what to do.
Which men? Let's say.
so when it comes to conversations like this and stuff like that, I would tell people that I don't want to be politically correct, but I kind of understand the person that I think she's those unplanned, unintentional, ones, no matter how small, are the ones that really make sense.
It's the you being sensitive to me and doing something for me because you sensed it, not because I told you, not because it's my birthday, not because it's our anniversary, not because it's Valentine's. Those are the things that, for example, the day he sent me flowers, I was like, I didn't even know I needed it. Yeah. Imagine having a long, hard day at work and everything, and you get to your car and you see a note. We used to call them sugar cubes. What you call it? You see a note, and then it just does something to me, yeah. Or random. Hey, I got you something. Random meals, or just things that I'm not expecting. I think when I was pregnant, he noticed I was stressed, and he just came home one day and he's like, "Pack your stuff. We're going to OPL." I went to OPL. He had booked massages. He had the entire thing planned. A movie night. And then we ended up on Olumo Rock. I think I was like, what, 7-8 months gone? Yeah, I was pretty close. And then I was so energized at the end. I went all the way to the top of Olumo Rock.
To stay with 7 months.
Yes, with big belly. Yes, I did.
You've always been very strong. Anyway, that's surprising.
Yes, I did. So. And then, I had a very difficult pregnancy, and he would always be with me. My husband, nobody slept over with me at the hospital except my husband. They knew him. He would come with duvet and pillows in the car, lay it on the floor. The following morning from the hospital, he goes home to change. Those things meant a lot to me than you buying me Valentine's gift and saying Happy Valentine's, babe. So yes, he's right.
So that's the kind of person that she is. So yeah, I think we are on a different note, and again, looking at, for me, it's not big. You see, those abilities to get home and get head rub. That head rub is good,
So terrible.
Getting head rub, getting back rubs. I think for me, those are romantic, right? Not the candles. Well, I'm a farmer, so.
No, but say Paris. I wanted to say Gbemilo Paris, but I guess Paris stinks a lot. So.
Right. And like she rightly said, maybe this is a reminder, but we kind of have deep conversations when we want to have deep conversations. And we kind of just know, when they say deep calls to the deep, you just know that this is not a joke. We really need to talk about, these. We really need to express ourselves about the way we feel about each other, and there's just this smile that she gives you, and that all is well.
And there's also
there's just the smile that she gives you. There's just the way she kisses you.
There's those, you see, and those kisses. I don't play with them.
Yeah.
Even when we're obsessed with each other. How will you leave the house and give me a kiss? On Friday he left. I thought he had gone because I worked late into the night, and then I woke up late. When I woke up, I didn't find him at home. I didn't see any signs that he was home. And I'm like, Anna, wow, you left the house, you didn't even give me a kiss. And then eventually I realized he was somewhere in the house. I was wondering why you leave the house without giving me a kiss. So those, good morning kisses, good night kisses, welcome kisses.
They are very, very
important.
They are very, very important. They look like nothing.
Very important for us.
They are very, very important. So yeah, I want to do the date nights and stuff like that, but I want to do it. But it's not the biggest thing for me. Trust me, if we go on a date night right now, we would enjoy us. But I think the real enjoyment is still those small things and gestures.
There's when I manage to sleep inside the room when Nini is not on my bed, and in the middle of the night, someone just realizes that my wife is here, and just feels that's more tangible for me than
the date nights are
good.
When
we go for movies,
if it works for you,
I can just look at the shoe and say, why would you wear this kind of shoe?
So yeah, we are going to have those kind of conversations before you came here, right? Like, why are you wearing this? And like, oh,
It's like, why are you wearing this clothes? Well, that's what I want to wear. No, I'm wearing this. You are not complimenting me.
So the date myself is getting common already.
Oh, I see. That's actually a thing, you know.
Right. So it just kind of works for everybody. Which is why when you called me, I said, see, for us, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have I just believe that, see, we understand what is working for us. Right? For some other people, it's date night and
we
stuff
went together
like
to
that.
go and get a massage one time. We were feeling all cool. Where's what we spent the time doing after the massage? You'd expect that, okay, you know, we'll be chill and everything. We just kept analyzing the facility and complaining about how our body was aching us at the end of the mass.
So do you? Just know what works for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I think in terms of being romantic,
Quality time.
I think there's quality time.
It's very big on quality time.
I'm very big on time.
Very big.
Very
when
big.
he's not working.
I think you are too.
I am, but sometimes I
her
just
space.
want my space. Sometimes I lock myself in my room and I tell them, "No, this is mommy's time. Nobody should come in for like the next 3 hours."
And I want to check her now like 10 times.
That's when he wants to come and cuddle up. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to go out and I don't want to. Don't call me. Don't ask me where I am. I won't call. If I get in trouble, I'll call you. Otherwise, if you don't hear from me, just know that I'm safe. This is where I've gone to. This is the person I'm with. These are the places I'm going to touch. Don't look for me.
No.
Ha!
I love it so much. I love how you let yourself go as a man, and not like as a man, but how you let yourself be in the different moments of your life. When you need to be a professional, you are. When you need to be a daddy, you are. When you need to be a husband, you are. But when you need to be a boy and a lover, you are. Like, it's so beautiful how. Let us finish the conversation.
See that boy part? Don't take it away from me. That head rub, don't take it away from me. Ever, it makes magic. Trust me on this. I've always lived my life with a lot of fear, thinking it was contentment. I read this book by Zig Ziglar, even though I don't like reading motivational books, Born to Win. You've given excuses of why your life is where it is. Your parents were not rich, you know, you didn't start life on time. My father changed my school like 1,000 times. But now, you're in full control of your life. What are you going to do about your life?
In the earlier days in our marriage, we used to split bills. Yeah? In fact, not even the earlier days, up until I took a break. We've always split bills. We do everything together collectively. And then, at the first time when I couldn't contribute to something, hey! I cried fire. I cried. And then at some point, I asked myself, it's your husband.
We need to be vulnerable. And the only way to be vulnerable is to be sure of yourself. How bad can things get? I had a little bit of esteem issues to deal with. But over time, you know, I was able to get out of that. So there was this concept in Born to Win. It's called the Wheel of Life. And the whole idea about it was the wheel, the bicycle wheel. The bicycle has different spokes. And if one spoke is removed, it's no longer a wheel. What is my wheel of life and what are the spoke in the wheel of life? So I designed 4 things that were the spoke in my wheel of life. Family, career, wellness, and money. Which I tell you that I like money now. I want to be healthy for this woman. We have to do it old.